Yeah. So good. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Traeger Grills. My name is Gerardo and this is my channel. If you're into backyard barbecue on a variety of different grills, whether it's pellet, charcoal, or electric, then please consider subscribing because that's exactly what this channel is all about. Today I'm going to be doing some beef ribs, but I've done regular short ribs before. Today we're going to be doing beef back ribs. These are also known as finger bones. They look a lot like a pork spare rib, but they are beef and it's delicious. So I'm going to be showing you how to prepare those. They're a little bit trickier to cook than just your standard pork rib, just because of the connective tissue that's in the beef. But trust me, they're absolutely fantastic. Are you ready to get going? Let's go. All right, here we go. So here we've got a rack of beef ribs. They look almost identical to a pork spare rib. You know, the same bones, bigger bones though, or you can tell it's the red meat, but I mean, from a rack perspective, yeah, it looks almost the same. We're gonna treat them almost the same way, but not quite. I'm not really gonna do a whole lot of trimming here. I just wanna get rid of some of this excess fat, and I can see here there's a little bit of little bones from when they got butchered, so I'm gonna trim those pieces off. So let's start with removing some of these bone pieces here. That's pretty much all I'm going to do here. This normally would have a membrane, but as you can see here, this has been removed by the butcher. You can see some of the score marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to score it some more. You can leave the membrane on if you have some that have it on, but I mean, it's really completely up to you. You can just score them, that'll be fine too. It's not as imperative like you would on a back rib to kind of take it out. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to flip it over and just going to feel for anything that is just going to be too much fat. Normally beef bones are a little bit lean on meat on the top. You can see here we got some shiners, so we got the bone fully exposed and these two here, so those are going to come through in the cook, but some of these still have meat over top. I don't want to trim too much off of it, and I'm feeling here it's not too bad. The fat is kind of all just mixed in, nothing really overly hard, so I'm gonna leave it all like that. I mean, that's pretty much it. You don't have to get anything fancy. You don't even have to remove any of that fat if you don't want to. So to get it going now for seasoning, I'm going to start just like I normally would most of my beef cooks. I'm going to start off with using a little bit of Worcestershire sauce and as my binder, and as I always say, it's completely optional. You can just use the moisture from the meat as well if you want. This is just how I like to do them. Next, I'm going to layer in some flavors. The first one is going to be the Tailgater's Party Rub. It's really good, very peppery, kind of like an SPG type rub, but it's really good on beef. That's it for my first layer. My next layer is going to be this Sasquatch Barbecue Fire Rub by Spiceology. This is very good, so it's kind of a citrus-based rub. It also is going to give us some nice color. And again, as you do with all of your rubs, your coarser rub should be the last one you put on. That's going to help build your bark. Then on this side, I'm going to repeat it on the other side. Well, that's pretty much it. So far, we haven't really changed anything in terms of how we would season this or prepare these. This is almost exactly the same way you would do some pork ribs, but I'll show you how we do the rest of the cook here shortly. All right, so I've got my Traeger Pro 780 here running at 225 degrees. I want to run this low and slow. You would normally have either some sort of liquid, put them in a pan with some liquid to marinate, and then to tenderize. In this case, because we're smoking them, we're not going to do any of that. So we want to make sure we go low and slow to give these, all the tissues inside there, time to break down and become nice and tender. So very similar to how you would do your pork spare ribs. In this case, I am going to do 225 the whole way until I wrap. Normally I would do 225, 250, and then go up after I wrapped. In this case, 225 to get as much smoke in as I can, but then also give this time to break down a bit. You want to shape your rib as always, as you always do. The way you set it on here is the way it's going to cook. And I've got my smaller bones, like the end bones, facing my fire pot here. So we got our heat coming in this way, going up and over. And that's it. We're gonna close the lid here to save some of this heat. And then I'm going to give it about an hour or so. I'm gonna come back and start checking to make sure it's not drying on me. It should still be okay, but we'll have a look to see if we need to spritz, and I'll show you when we do that. All right, here we go. It's been an hour, so let's have a look. See here, it's looking pretty good. It's starting to get a little dry, so we're just gonna spritz it. Oh yeah, looking great. I'm gonna spritz. I'm using this is just some beef consomme that I put in a spray bottle, and just enough to wet the surface. Nothing crazy. All right, so that's pretty much it here. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna close this up and then come back in about half an hour or so, and then give it another spritz if it needs it. If it's looking like it was dry, like I just showed you right now, we'll spritz it. I won't show you that, but we're gonna do it every half an hour to 45 minutes. Come and keep checking. What I'm looking for is the right color on this with the bark fully set so that I can wrap it. All right, so we're about 2 hours and 45 minutes into this cook. My bark is set, the color is looking right. Nice mahogany. I've been spritzing every half an hour here after the first hour, so I've spritzed it 3 times. I'm gonna take it off here, I'm gonna wrap it, and I'll show you how we do that. All right, here we go. So now we're gonna wrap this. And the only thing that we're gonna do here is I'm going to put the rest of my spritzing liquid. I'm gonna use it all. This is a little bit more than a quarter cup being used here, which is more than what I would typically use in your standard pork rib. And that's because I want this liquid to help kind of break down those fibers, almost kind of like braising it, but not really, so that it becomes tender. We're looking for maximum tenderness. Beef ribs can be very tough, so that's what we're doing this. So first thing first, got 2 sheets of foil here. I'm just going to kind of make a little boat here. And that's it. Let's put these back on. We're gonna turn the heat up to 250 degrees, and then we're gonna let it cook out from there. I'm gonna come back and check them in about an hour and a half or so. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna poke test them. Tenderness is all that we're looking for here. All right, here we go. So it's been about an hour and a half, actually, maybe closer to an hour and 45 minutes. Let's have a look. Ooh-wee. Hopefully you can see that. Let's see if I can get you a little better look. Here we go. Bones all come right out pretty much. I'm not worried about temperature, so I'm just gonna poke it with my probe. In and out like nothing. That's what we want. That liquid did its job. You can see that just like nothing. Now let's take a temperature if you want to see what this is at. 202. They should all be around the same temperature. That's beautiful. That's really what I want there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna open this up in here and just try to flip them over without having it kind of fall apart on me here. Beautiful. I'm just gonna actually leave it like this in here for another 20 minutes or so, opened up, just to kind of firm up that end of it. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more of this Tailgater's rub on it. Now that rub is gonna set in, and it's gonna finish up nicely. So we're gonna let this kind of firm up. This is going to help let our bark back in. As you can see, it's kind of gone a little wet, and it's gonna give us a really good result here in the end. I'll show you when we're done. All right, so these have been off the smoker now for about 20-25 minutes. They've just been resting on my board here, just loosely tented with some foil just to make sure that they're still a little bit warm, but they're ready to go now. So let's just cut into these because I can't wait to try them. They're just fall apart. Perfect. So unlike pork ribs, you want these to be super, super tender because, like I said earlier, beef ribs have a lot of connective tissue and they can be very, pretty tough sometimes, and you gotta kind of render that out. So you can see, here, they're juicy, great little smoke ring on them. Super tender, great flavor. I don't know if you can see there. Nice little smoke ring on it. Let's see if I can cut another piece here where I can get a better look. See a nice smoke ring all the way along. Very, very tender. Oh man, I could probably eat this whole thing myself. absolutely perfect. So again, big key to these is that we're not wrapping too early. You want to wrap when you get the right color. And in the wrap, we add a little bit more liquid than we normally would. That really helps really break down all the fibers in the meat. It almost helps kind of braise the meat a little bit, but without giving you that braised, boiled meat flavor. It's absolutely fantastic. That's all I got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss out on any content. Until next time, I'll catch you on the next G-Rod Grills. Yeah.